Now, interviews can sometimes get intimidating if you're not prepared beforehand, correct? Now, answering the questions diligently will definitely help make or break your candidature, as it is very, very important that you are prepared to answer all of these questions that are asked to you at the best of your abilities, right? Now, keeping this in mind, we here at Great Learning have actually come up with this video where we're discussing the top 10 HR questions that are very, very important for the year 2021 and beyond. Before we get started, I want to introduce you to Great Learning Academy. This is a free initiative by Great Learning where you can have access to over 200 plus courses with 1000 plus hours of free content on all of the trending high demand domains absolutely free. Register now to complete the course and get your free certificate of completion as well. Check out the link in the description box of the video below for more details. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. This is done to make sure you do not miss out on any of the new updates or video releases from Great Learning. And of course, guys, if you enjoy this video, show us some love and do like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, right? So make sure you share this video with your friends, colleague, and everyone who can make use of it. And at the end of it, make sure to comment on the video if you have any queries or any suggestions, and I'll be more than happy to respond to all of your comments. Now, make sure to go through all of these questions and pointers thoroughly because this will help you stay at the top of your game whenever you're answering all of these questions in the HR round, especially. And this definitely will help you have an edge over the competition. So let's begin with question number one. Question number one states, can you tell me something about yourself? Now, this is a question that is almost asked every single time in the HR round. So make sure you are prepared with this one. Now, how would you go on to attack a question such as this? First of all, when you ask this question, make sure to have a quick and a concise introduction about yourself, your name, where you're from, and all the details that you think are necessary at this point of time. Because previous rounds, it might so happen that you've already spoken about your introduction, all of that, but the HR team might not know it, right? So it's very vital that you put out a concise introduction about you, right? So now, if you are a person who is looking at a job change, or maybe even if this is your first job, make sure you talk about it. Even though you're a fresher, you can talk about how well you think you fit into this particular role. You can bring in all your past experiences, maybe talk about college experiences, certification programs, and all of that. And of course, if you are a person who is looking to switch a career or switch a role, then of course you can talk about why you think you are fit for this role as well. Of course, again, that's a question all of its own. But one important pointer whenever you're answering this particular question is whenever you give an introduction about yourself, make sure to talk about other things which are outside your work as well, because that is what rounds you up, rounds your profile up completely, right? You can talk about your hobbies, you can talk about your passions. For example, traveling is a good passion, playing chess is a very good hobby, hiking is a nice hobby, right? So talk about all these. Maybe you play music and all of that, right? So talk about this. It will definitely bloom up your answers, and it's going to impress the hiring manager as well. Coming to question number two. Question number two states, what is your ideal workplace? Now, do think about this for a second, because you have to understand what your favorable work environment is, right? Sometimes you might love to sit and talk about things that make you happy at work. Think about all the things. Maybe it can be even the tiniest details, right? A well-lit environment, equally spaced, people sitting not very close together. Of course, you can talk about a lot of factors. For example, motivational posters in the office that will definitely help you, stay at the top of your game in terms of motivation. And then it also adds a lot of value if you talk about what you look forward in people, about how they make you happy, what makes you want to work more, and at the end of the day, what you would like to give back to the organization as well, right? So whenever you're speaking about your ideal workplace, 50% of the answer can be literal in terms of what you look for in terms of workplace, but also talk about the people that you'll be working with, the colleagues, your favorable conditions, what makes you want to work more if you are a part of that particular company, right? So that is how you're supposed to look at this question and answer it. Now, coming to question number 3. Question number 3 states, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Now, this is a very tricky question. Again, a very common and an important question that's going to be asked. So whenever you're asked about your strengths and weaknesses, it is a common thing to say that, hey, I have a lot of strengths, I have no weaknesses. That is very wrong. Make sure you never say that you have no weaknesses, right? No one is perfect, and there are things which you might not be good at, and it's absolutely fine. First of all, let's talk about your strengths, right? Now, whenever you're talking about your strengths, whenever you mention certain points, right? So you might be a person who has an OCD for time, saying you are a person who will always be on time no matter what. You're a person who will give it your maximum on a Monday morning. All of these things, right? All of these are strengths where you have to think out of the box to find out what you are good at, right? Strengths part of it, I am very sure technically, non-technically, or personally, you can put it out. Now, what do you do about weaknesses? Whenever you're asked about weaknesses, always try to speak about it in a way where you're telling the hiring manager or the HR manager that you are learning through that weakness, right? Now, your weakness might be that, you might get a little tired on a Friday afternoon as you're, jumping into the weekend. Now, what are you doing to change that weakness and convert it into a strength? So what are you, what are you taking away from the weakness and using it to learn? Make sure you put it that way. Never say no weaknesses. It is okay to state 1 or 2 weaknesses. In fact, it definitely will portray a lot in terms of honesty, in terms of courage. So make sure you are speaking up boldly whenever you're talking about your strengths, and of course, equally important when you're talking about your weaknesses as well. Coming to question number 4. Question number 4 states, where do you see yourself 3 years from now? Now, 3 years in your books can be considered as a short term, or in fact, it is commonly considered to be a long-term goal as well. So what should you talk about this when you ask this question? First of all, talk about your career, talk about how stable you think it is as of now, and what plans you have for the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, and the 3rd year as well, right? So have these 4 breakup plans ready in mind, prepare for it, so that when you ask this question, you can approach it that way. Now, the other thing that's worth mentioning is that whenever you are asked about a question pertaining to the future, make sure you talk about how you are open to working with new challenges, how you are looking forward to pushing yourself professionally and personally to have a bigger and a better impact on the organization, on the people, on the clients as days pass, right? Now, your goal should be to align with the mission and the vision of the organization. So take a second to talk about that as well, and showcase that in the next coming 3 years, or let's say even 1 or 2 years down the line, that you are one step closer to realizing the company's mission and working on developing and of course going alongside the vision as well. So approaching it like this requires some previous knowledge of the company itself. So take some good amount of time to research the domain, the company, and of course your role in depth. So whenever you ask questions like this, you have a good amount of content and knowledge to answer it with. Now, coming to question number 5. Question number 5 is a very, very important question, ladies and gentlemen, because it states, why should we hire you? Now, one important thing about you attacking this question is to know the reasons of why you would stand out among a people of, let's say, 10 or a group of 100 or maybe a group of 200 people, right? Now, what makes you stand out? First of all, if you're a fresher or a person who's looking to switch jobs, having prior knowledge about the company itself is going to give you a lot of clarity when you ask these questions, right? That'll already give you, that'll already take you one one step ahead of the competition. But one important thing that a lot of people skip, which you shouldn't, is to read the job description in depth. Not just glance through it, not just look at the skills, but read through what it is that they exactly are asking for. Because with that, you can actually match all of your skills based on the requirement, and then you can have an answer ready saying, hey, I have these skills, you are looking for these skills, and I can bring about all of these with my experiences, with my professional choices, and of course with the professional environment that you bring about with yourself, right? So it's not just you as a person who joins the organization, it is you as a person who is going to have a huge impact as an individual player or a manager or whatever it is. So it is very vital that you also speak about a plan of action that you might have. Now, you might have a plan of action saying, hey, in the first 6 months, this is what I envision myself doing in this company. Well, talk about that, because not all of these details can be put in depth in your cover letter or your resume, right? So when you're given an opportunity to speak, make sure you speak, but keep it concise. Do not get carried away by these questions, because all these questions are very concise on their own. So the answers that are expected out of you are the same as well. Right. Coming to question number 6. Question number 6 states, would you choose hard work over smart work? Now, the most common answer as soon as you're asked this is an impulsive response of saying, I will absolutely prefer smart work. Hey, but then you really have to give it a thought, right? Now, there can be many cases where smart work is justified well, but things get done better if you actually put in the right amount of time, if you put in some elbow grease, right? Now, for that particular case, instead of just picking one over the other, you can definitely use a diplomatic approach where you're talking about a hybrid approach. Like you would prefer both hard work and smart work depending on the situation, right? Now, you can give examples of where hard work beats smart work, and of course where smart work beats hard work as well. Now, when you're answering all of these, right, don't give one word answer. When you ask this question, don't just say smart work and give a smile and sit. That is not the right way to answer this. The right way to answer this, as I've been mentioning, is to do all of these things and more. Now, what is this more part that I'm talking about? Well, do talk about the downsides of it, right? Now, if you have a problem at hand, you cannot always expect a good solution by completely doing hard work or by completely doing smart work. The hybrid approach comes into the picture. But there are certain disadvantages of using the one over the other, right? In that case, make sure to talk about the disadvantages. Sometimes you literally have to do hard work and there is no way that you can smarten it up per se, right? So there should be a downside of why you cannot use smart work there. Mention that. Give a lot of examples. Now, I am approaching this question in a way where I'm guiding you to answer. Use these guidelines to your own situation, adapt it to your own current situation with the company that you're applying for, with all the research, and make sure you give examples, because more the examples, more the practical connection that you put out, it helps your candidature stand out a lot. So make sure, guys, that you're talking about a lot of examples when you ask this question. And then coming to question number 7. Question number 7 states, what did you do in 2020 to upskill yourself? Now, guys, 2020 has been such a different year when you compare to all the other years, right? The entire world was almost working from home. People were upskilling themselves from home, studying from home, whatever it is. So the way you're supposed to answer this question, in my opinion, is to talk about how different this year was, first of all, for yourself. You can talk about it in the professional aspect first, and then include a little bit of personal elements of how you had to adjust for the changes in 2020. And the second thing is the important part where you actually answer the question, what did you do to upskill yourself, right? So you might have picked up some of the nice certification programs out there. For example, I hope you guys have checked out Great Learning Academy. Great Learning Academy has a lot of material where you can use for interview preparations. You can enroll for courses for free, work through it for free, and again get a certificate of completion for free as well, right? So you might have done something like this. Well, guess what? This is your time to answer about all of these. What are the skills, professional skills that you picked up, certifications, examinations, whatever it is, mention that. Secondly, don't just keep it vanilla. Talk about a hobby or a skill that you kept, you learned to maybe keep yourself sane during the year, right? Now, 2020 has been hard mentally on a lot of people. If it has been hard on you, it is completely all right. Maybe to calm yourself down, you learned to play music, or you started dancing, or, you did something else. You started painting or something. Yes, do talk about that, because that is your escape from what was different in that year. And the HR manager will definitely appreciate that you actually put in time for self development and your professional development as well, right? It's not just these big things that will have a big impact on your answer, even tiny changes, right? Now, 2020 was a lockdown period. Half of it was lockdown where you had to stay at home. Now, you maybe have been a person who would stay late up, in the night and wake up late in the morning. Maybe you change that around. Now you're a morning person. You're an early bird. You wake up at 6 a.m. You love watching the sunrise. You love watching the sunsets, whatever it is, right? All of these small changes which you think will have an impact on the person who's sitting in front of you, not the professional sitting in front of you, the person, right? Make sure to talk about that, and make sure you mention all of this in a clear and a concise way. Now, coming to question number 8. Question number 8 is a very important one. It says, how do you resolve conflicts at work? Now, when you are in an environment working with other professionals, there might come a situation where things can get a little out of hand, or things can get a little heated. Maybe in your team, maybe in another team, maybe you're involved directly into it or not involved, right? So how would you diffuse a situation like this? First of all, to diffuse a situation, you have to think about the situation itself rather than the people who are involved in it, right? Now, when you think about just the event of what's happened wrong or right, or how would you approach by using all your ethical principles, or all the things that you stand by as a professional, right? Now, using all of that, you can talk about your approach that way. You can talk about how you would spend time looking at the events rather than the people. And of course, now all of these conflicts are very common sometimes, right? Now, there might be a heated conversation about maybe someone missing a meeting, or something else like that. So you have to have a plan of action. Like, whenever someone misses a meeting, this is what they do. Whenever something gets heated up in between two people, this is how it's professionally diffused. So you have to have a plan for each and every one of these things. As an HR team, they actually will have a plan themselves, but you as a professional should also work on this, right? Then it's not just looking at conflicts, it's also you creating a list where you agree with certain things that have gone right and disagree with certain things that have gone wrong. That is a very, very important aspect of you answering this question as well, guys. So make sure you put in a good amount of effort creating your answer based on these 4 important guidelines mentioned. Now, coming to question number 9. Question number 9 is again a very important question. It says, why are you switching your jobs this frequently, right? Now, if you are a fresher, well, this question might not be asked to you. But if you are an experienced professional who maybe switched your job with less than 1 year of experience, 2 years in the same company, and if you're jumping from one company to another, you will definitely attract the HR team to ask you this question, right? Now, how would you answer this? First of all, you can have a lot of reasons to answer this. One important thing to answer is, maybe you came out from a job which was not meant for you. Maybe working with the boss, employers, clients, all of that was not up to your expectation. But no matter what, do not badmouth your previous employers, right? Do not say that your previous boss was not a good person, so you had to quit. Well, certain situations might ask for that, might call for that, but it is vital that you, put it out in a diplomatic way rather than just straight up saying that, everyone you worked with were unprofessional. No, do not do that. Right. The next thing is that you have to talk about why you're making the switch itself. Maybe you started working in a high energy environment like a startup or something, where you had to, maybe work 13, 14, 15 hours a day. And then you looked at a bigger career option. Maybe now you're applying for an MNC, a multinational corporation, where things are more structured, things are more aligned well to your interests and your requirements. And that's why you're looking for a switch. So that's a very good reason, right? And of course, the next thing thing is, talk about why, first of all, you're applying to this company and where you come from, and why do you think that you should switch to this particular company, and how it helps the company themselves, right? That is what they're expecting out of this answer for you. So, another important factor you can always think about is make sure you use references. Make sure you talk about things that made you want to be attracted to the job you're applying for and eventually apply for it. Now, everyone has a reason to switch a job or the other. Maybe you absolutely love working for the company you're applying for. Now it's your dream company. Yes, do say that it was your dream to eventually be there, and that it would add a lot of value to you, to your contentment, to your happiness, that you would be a part of their company and have an impact on society. Well, yes, that's a good reference. Talk about that. Maybe you have some professional aspirations which can only be met through those companies. If that is the case, yes, do talk about that as well, guys. Now, this is a very important question. I hope you keep these important pointers at hand when you're answering them. And then coming to the last question, the 10th question is a question which is, rated 10 on 10 in terms of being asked. So it will get asked all the time, even though you might be a fresher or if you are especially an experienced professional, right? The question states, why should we pay you the asking amount? Now, when someone is paying you for your service, paying you for your expertise, it means that you have a skill, you have something that they are willing to, use and provide financial assistance for you, right? That is a basic business aspect of things. You work, you get paid, right? But it is not only that. If you're asking an amount higher than the standard, there is a good chance they might ask you this. So how should you approach this? First of all, you should know how you should sell yourself in a way where, talk about how your skills are maybe better than what the current market requirement is. Talk about all the things from the past, all the approaches that you have taken, all the out of the box thinking that has helped you, come to a conclusion where that you deserve the pay because of the results that you have put out previously. Talk about how you believe that the asking amount will value your time and your efforts into the company itself. Now, all of these are something that's going to help. The next thing, which is very vital, is talk about your credentials, talk about your education, talk about your certifications and your previous job experiences, where, yes, it's not just that you are here day one and that you are trained completely from scratch in many cases, right? You bring about a sense of knowledge with you. You bring about a sense of learnability, teachability, and a ton of skills with you, right? All of those are worth something. So in that particular case, make sure to mention all of these one by one and say, hey, yes, this is why I believe that, I deserve the asking amount. Talk about how you are going to exceed all the expectations that will be put into the picture, so that even after you land the role, that people know that it's worth your time and effort to provide a solution to the company itself. So it's extremely vital that you take this kind of a positive approach, this kind of an approach to state why you deserve the amount as well, right? So guys, question number 1 to 10, all of these questions are extremely important for yourself. Now, when the talk is about interview preparation, there is always one common question we here at Great Learning get asked. Where can we get more free content where we are preparing for interviews? If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. This is done to make sure you do not miss out on any of the new updates or video releases from Great Learning. And of course, guys, if you enjoy this video, show us some love and do like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, right? So make sure you share this video with your friends, colleagues, and everyone who can make use of it. And at the end of it, make sure to comment on the video if you have any queries or any suggestions, and I'll be more than happy to respond to all of your comments.